In this lesson, you will learn how to set up customers regarding the impact on the sales function. When creating a customer, you set values having a direct effect on the sales process from the order taking to invoicing. Most of those values can be defaulted from the customer category. It is important to set your customer categories properly in order to facilitate and optimize the actions to create a customer and enforce controls over your sales, shipping, and invoicing processes. Each tab of the customer category has settings impacting the sales order process. However, when it is required, the values defaulted from the customer category can be changed in the customer record. In the customer record, there are a number of settings which have an effect on the sales process, either to control some information or define the delivery activities. You can see them in this slide. Let's go through these fields one by one with some explanation in your system. We will review an existing customer and explain the different elements having an impact on the sales function. To view a customer, select the Customer's function under the Common Data module. Let's select Customer NA008. Every customer is based off a customer category, which can be used to insert default data into the customer, some of which is related to the sales function. We could jump to the customer category if we want to, using the Jump To feature. On the Identity tab, the language will be used to print sales documents like order acknowledgments, shipping notes, invoices, etc. The currency will be the default for an order created for this customer and used throughout the entire sales process. On the Addresses tab, we can identify various customer addresses and locations. On the Commercials tab, we can identify the minimum order value set to control when reordering a sales order. Checking the Allow Order to Close checkbox, you allow unfulfilled order lines to be manually closed. Check Loan Authorized if the loan of goods for the customer is authorized. Checking the One Order Per Delivery checkbox, you forbid grouping customer orders in the same delivery. This can have an impact on the picking, packing, and shipping process, as well as on the invoicing and volume of documents generated. Decide if partial delivery is authorized or if complete shipments per line or per order are mandatory. Set price, amount, type to define if the prices entered at order intake are including taxes or not. Define if the freight costs are invoiced to the customer totally, up to a defined threshold based on different criteria like weight, volume, and the order value, or not invoiced at all. Define the invoicing mode to either create the invoice manually or apply automatic grouping rules based on the options like one invoice per shipment or one invoice per ship to. Define the invoicing process frequency when automatic, daily, weekly, monthly, etc. Determine if the invoice date or the shipment date is used as the base to calculate the payment due date. Define the commission category applied to the customer to calculate the commission for the sales rep identified in Sales Rep 1 and 2. Set the discount and charges applying to the customer order. Those are defined in the Invoicing Elements function. Specific customer texts can be added to order acknowledgments or invoices. These are defined in the right menu under the Text section. Finally, if it is required to send an order acknowledgment to the customer, you have to check the Print Acknowledgement button and select a Crystal Report template. On the Management tab, you set the customer type. You can use the miscellaneous option to record activities for occasional customers you don't need to create a specific customer record. To control the credit allowed to a customer, you can define a credit threshold. Sales processes will check the threshold to see if it has been hit and either warn you or block the order entry process. In case you want to secure your payments, you can register the subscription to a specific insurance. Your system can handle loyalty programs. They can be used to reward customers by adding tokens or points that can be converted later based on conditions defined in a service contract. And if you tunnel to a customer note, it is possible to find generic or specific messages for the customer that will be prompted to the person entering the sales order in the system, like a sale campaign on some products, free delivery between 2 dates, etc. On the Ship to Customer tab, you define for each customer address you have on the grid dedicated information, like if the prompted address is the customer default ship to address or the language to be used for the shipping documents. You can also record specific tax rules or sales reps taking over the ones defined in the Commercials tab. You will define the shipment site to favor when delivering the current address, the route number to be used, a carrier, the preferred delivery mode, ground, air, sea, etc., and delivery priority to satisfy your customer and optimize your logistical cost. The delivery lead time will be used to calculate the expected delivery date. You can also define a loan site or subcontract site for the customer. If checked, the picking ticket or delivery notes can be printed. Incoterms are custom information. You define here the transfer of ownership and responsibility of the goods during the transportation. A freight agent usually handling the customs process can be identified. Work days are available delivery day at the customer premises. A specific calendar can be attached to add unavailable periods like vacations. And finally, the Contacts tab. You can log the customer's personnel. You can record their names, their functions, and roles, as well as their address, phone number, and email address. In this topic, you have learned how to set the key customer information impacting the sales function.